How do you dispute inaccuracies on your business credit report? I'm going to dive into that right now, just so you know. So, look, business credit is important, right? I think it's one of the biggest secrets that are kept out there. Okay, it ultimately determines your ability to get approved for credit financing, how much money you are going to get, and the rates and terms that you're going to pay. Okay, so bottom line, if you want the most money or the best terms for your business, you have to have good business credit reports and scores. Okay, but what happened if they are damaged? All right, that's a question that I do get a lot. So, what happens if something's negative on your reports that are actually hurting you? Okay, well, let me teach you how to address that. Okay, so I'm going to go over how to fix that, how to find out what you need to potentially fix, and the exact steps to fix your business credit with Duns and Bradstreet, Experian, and Equifax. Okay, and if you have not heard or have not been here before, hi, my name is Danny, and I own Scorpio Financial, which is a credit repair and management company that helps consumers and businesses in all things credit. Okay, so we got a lot to cover, so let's just jump right in. All right, so obviously, business credit is important. Okay, I mean, business credit determines your fate when it comes to getting business credit financing. All right, the better your business credit, the more money you're going to get. The better the terms on that credit financing, which means the more money you're able to get with lower payments. Okay, but what happens if something negative is on your business credit report? All right, here's the exact step by step, or actually the exact steps to take. And yeah, let's just keep going right away. Okay, so step one, you have to get a copy of your business credit reports. I know it sounds easy, but it's not as easy as you might think, because you're going to have to go through a few different places to be able to get these reports. Okay, now if you are a Scorpio Financial client, you're already using like their credit reports that give you the DNB, Equifax, and Experian all in one place. But if you're not a Scorpio Financial client, then you're going to have to go on multiple sources to get these reports. First, you know what? First of all, you're going to need to go to Experian or Dun & Bradstreet directly to get copies of the reports. Okay, you can go right into the website to access your reports online with both of them. Now, Equifax is a little bit tricky right now because Equifax has pulled back from the business credit monitoring game, which is causing a little bit of issues. So, as crazy as it might sound, you can really go to Equifax to get a copy of your reports. It's easier, actually, you're better off to go to NAV to get a copy of your Equifax credit reports. Okay, and again, this is a fair warning though. Your NAV credit reports are not going to be as accurate with Equifax. Equifax is not playing nice right now. Have to keep in mind that these reports might not be 100% up to date and accurate, but it's the best place to get a copy of your Equifax reports. Okay, so go back to NAV. Now that you have a copy of those reports, you want to actually monitor them and trying to find any inaccuracies in them. Okay, it's everything on these credit reports actually as how it should be. Okay, now I need you to be cautious. If you've used to consumer credit reports, you might be actually thinking about your payment history. You actually might be verifying every single one of those accounts. You might be used to looking at your actual payments. But what's more important here, even than payment history, is the actual information about the company on those reports. Okay, is your name correct? Is your address correct? Is your phone number correct? Is your NAICS code correct? Okay, it's all of the information that in the about information and section of the credit reports about your company accurate. Okay, yes, I know it sounds crazy, but it is a really big deal. It's a really big deal for multiple reasons. Okay, first of all, business credit reports are assigned based on the company name and address. All right, which you'll see why, right? If there's a company that has a similar name and a similar address, you can see that information shows in your credit reports that it's not even yours. Okay, there's a lot of issues that can happen with cross-pollination of business credit reports. Okay, where things are on your credit reports that aren't even yours, and it's the first thing that you need to address. Okay, you need to really look out for those. When we look at things like your industry, it really matters because the industry comparison scores that each reporting agency offers. Okay, these comparison scores compare you against other people in your industry, but in a lot of cases, they don't even know your industry, right? So it's just not correct. They have the wrong NIACA's code. Okay, in this case, you're getting scores way lower than you should have, and this damages your ability to be able to get credit financing. Okay, most importantly, your lenders and credit issuers are looking for fraud. Okay, fraud is the number one reason that loans and credit lines are denied. Okay, if they look, let's say, if they look at your application, okay, they look at the data, and if it doesn't match things like what they're finding on your business credit reports, your name is off, your address is off, your phone number is off, all that information is incorrect, or any of it is incorrect, they oftentimes might think the application is fraud and you're turned down before you even, or they even take a look into your actual application. So you have to make sure that when you're reviewing your report for accuracy, that you're actually looking for and at the about section of your report. Okay, because information is important. If all of your company details are correct, then that's probably the best place to start. Okay, now as you go through those reports, what else do you need to look that is correct or incorrect? Most importantly, next you need to do and look for late payments. Okay, do you have late payments on any of your reports? Do you have collections? Do you have public records? Do you have lawsuits? Right? Yeah, like actually, you need to remember that even lawsuits show on your business credit reports, and especially public records can seriously damage your ability to get credit financing because they really lower your scores. Okay, you want to make sure that if you do have any public records, is there any information there? Okay, is it negative against you? Is it actually helping you? Okay, if should it even be on your credit report? Okay, do you have your UCC filing showing you have outstanding loans? Okay, is that even accurate? Okay, so yeah, once we have your UCC filing showing a report, it's because the lender went out of business and we paid off the loan many years prior. Okay, then when we went to get an SBA loan, this caused a serious barrier that slowed down the loan by over a month or two. Okay, this is why you need to look at these business credit reports regularly and address these things so you don't run into delays when you're trying to get any type of financing and funding. Okay, and that's what you needed the most, right? You just want to make sure that you get that money. So, and the information, is the information there accurate? Do you have public records? Do you have late payments? Do you have defaulted accounts? Okay, if any of that information under it's negative, then that's when you really want to consider sending any type of disputes. Okay, now let me talk about what that ink looks like. Okay, disputing. All right, so you have to be careful though, because when it comes to disputing, oftentimes they'll remove the entire account from your business credit reports, not only just the late payments, how we do on the consumer side. For example, if you have 50 on-time payments and one late payment, you have to really think about this account before you even send a dispute, because if you dispute it, you might remove the entire account, and that happens quite a bit, okay, including the 50 positive on-time payments that you've already done. And when you find inaccuracies that need to be addressed, you need to make sure that you're thoroughly looking into the reports and only addressing issues that can actually harm you. Because don't forget, you do not want to remove the positive information in the report. But if you dispute even an account, you're probably going to remove the entire thing, including the positive payment history, right? So yes, just keep that in mind. Okay. The next thing is the time to start disputing. Okay. So the best case scenario is you have some kind of verification, documentation, support of what you're actually claiming is inaccurate on the credit report. If you have that, you always want to try to submit that in step one. Okay, I'm going to talk to you about how to dispute with each bureau, but keep in mind as you're preparing your dispute, if you have any documentation, invoices to show that you paid as agreed, a credit card statements, you have bank statements where money is taken out, of your account, any other supporting documentation to support your point, you want to gather and you're going to want to submit that with your disputes. Okay. And if you don't have it, that's okay. It's okay to try 1, 2, 3 disputes without the documentation I'm telling you about, and still in hopes that it might get corrected. And oftentimes that might work. Okay, but sometimes we've done disputes and don't provide documentation, and if they don't correct the item on the credit reports, that's where usually you want to put all of that information in. Okay, the choice is yours, but if you have the documentation to support your case, my best advice is to supply the documentation with your initial dispute. Okay, maybe do 1, 2 times and then start providing all the show and the proof. Okay, all right. So now let's talk about how to actually do a dispute. Okay, the process is going to be different for each business credit reporting agency. This is the part where you take notes and stuff. So look at the first thing that you need to know is there's no Fair Credit Reporting Act when it comes to commercial credit reports. Okay, and this is very important. Here's what matters, because in consumer credit repair, there's an organized system because there's a law that governs what the credit bureaus and creditors must do in the case of something being not handled with proper information. Okay, there's not such law in the commercial credit reporting space. Okay, which means that there's no law that governs credit issuers and lenders and the business credit reporting agencies on how they must handle your disputes. Okay, and that is why the process is different with each one of the credit reporting agencies that we talked about. Okay, so let's start with the biggest one, right? Dun & Bradstreet. Now, if they have something called their dashboard, right, that you can get access to 100% for free, and you can update anything on your business credit reports. Okay, if you have something inaccurate, your dashboard will deem it's where you want to start the process to actually do a dispute. Okay, now Experian, you want to get their business credit reports. And then at the bottom of the business credit report, you're going to see an option that is going to be able to send a dispute right there and then. Okay, you're going to dispute with Experian through the Business Credit Monitoring Online platform, and that's going to be the easiest and best way for you to be able to do that. Okay, with Equifax, you've got to spot right on the website for a small business where you can actually address any disputes that you want to process on your Equifax business credit reports. All right, so remember, I don't want you to forget this, right? Back to the prior step. Now you get to have, and you have looked at each of these credit reports to see if you even have any inaccuracies. Yes, sometimes you might not even have any in your report, might be fine, right? But a lot of people think they have bad business credit when they don't. And you just have to make sure that you look for inaccuracies, right? People think, oh, my business credit is bad. No, that's not the case. You just don't know, right? So now that you have the information for the credit reporting agencies, the next that you want to do is actually filing the dispute. When you're filing your disputes online, what you basically want to do is say, hey, here's the account, here's the details to identify the account, here's what's wrong, and here's what's right. Okay, here's what needs to be corrected. Okay, that's ultimately what you're going to be the supplying of the support and documentation for, right? That we talked about in the past. Of course, if you have it, right? For example, the last dispute I did for Experian was because they had my NIACS code incorrect. Okay, they did not have my industry correct, so I simply went online. I said, hey, you have this code erroneous. Here's what's wrong. It should be this. Okay, here's what's right. Remember, okay, what I want them to do, it's X. Okay, I want you to update my business credit reports to remove the incorrect code, and then we needed to update it with the correct one, which is this. Okay, this is very clear, very cookie cutter, very concise, and what they wanted to do. Okay, and then here's what's wrong, here's what's right, here's the action steps I want you to take to correct the incorrect information and update it, okay, to the correct information that I'm giving you. All right, again, if you have any supporting documentation, this is where you're going to supply it. All right, next, that's where the tricky part comes. Not the tricky, but like the one that people don't want to do, and that's following up. Okay, you want to keep an eye on your business credit reports. You want to keep an eye on your dashboard or hear back from Equifax or with Experian. Okay, I want you to keep an eye on your business credit reports. Okay. I want you to keep an eye on your online systems when they will notify you that anything has been updated, right? And because did they update the information correctly? Did they do the steps that you wanted to do? Okay. Was it favorably to you? Okay. Is it actually helping you? Is it harming you? Did they update the information as you would expect them to do? Okay. Typically, what's going to happen is they might remove the entire account, like I said in the past, right, earlier this video. There's nothing you're going to be able to do if it's already gone, right? If it's gone, it's gone. But that's why I'm giving you like a full warning, okay? And then in the end, they might say, hey, we tried, we looked into this, we verified it, right? We cannot verify what you're saying is correct. We're going to leave it as it is, okay? Another outcome that they could do is that they're going to come in and say, look, this is wrong. We updated the actual account, and it's usually when those accounts get removed, okay? They're going to update it, or they're going to notify you that there are no changes. If they removed it or update it, then that's when the big congratulations come in, right? The problem that you needed solved is now solved. And yeah, the dispute worked, okay? If they came back and said, no, we disagree, then you need to go back to them again. And that's when the follow-up of more disputes will come into play, okay? Now, at this point, if you haven't already, this is where you're going to supply the supporting documentation to support your case. You know, you tried it once without documentation, maybe twice without documentation. And because now they're denying your request, obviously you're going to need the extra information to support everything, right? So you might want to come in with as much supporting documentation as you have and hit them again, okay? In the cases that you do not have any type of supporting documentation, then dispute them again. They will come back, say, look, here's what I feel that this is wrong, right? You can come back and give them more information without supplying any type of extra documentation. And now that I think about it, let me give you an example, right? I actually disputed my NISCS code with Experian. Experian said we validated it with a third-party source, okay? And they already made sure that your code is correct, right? And we're denying your request. That's crazy, but you know what you do is that you go back to them and say, hey, listen, here's my deal, my tax return, my Dun and Bradstreet, my Equifax credit reports. They all show the code, and the only place that is wrong is yours. Okay. By the way, I know who the third party is that you use to validate this third information, and it's LexisNexis, right? Trying to have it corrected as well. Actually, you know, you need to update it because everybody else has it correct and you have it incorrect. So guess what? I said that they fixed it without me supplying any additional documentation, you know? Now they would have, if not, they probably would have denied my request again, but I would have sent the same notification and I would have shown on my IRS tax returns that they had it correct. I would have showed them my DNB credit reports that they had it correct, you know, just as documentation and proof. Or that on a third attempt, I will be me personally in this case, I would have included the supporting documentation that pled my case, okay? As you can see, number one, I just said, hey, here's what's wrong. That's what was my first dispute. Here's what's right. Here's what I need you to fix. They said no. So round two will be, I came back and gave them more details. Hey, this is wrong. Everybody else has it correct. You have that incorrect, which is this. Source has it correct, which is this source, this source, this source. And then here's why I think you should correct it. Okay, they corrected it. Again, if they didn't, then you will come in with supporting documentation for the third time, and they will have actually updated the credit reports and addressed my actual disputes. All right, so that's kind of like an idea, so you can picture how the dispute process will go. Okay, they would have updated my credit reports in that case. They fixed what I actually asked them to fix, and you know, finally, what you want to track your records, right? Whatever they came back with, you want to make sure that you save that documentation. And if it ever has changed, reversed, corrected, you can use that supporting documentation to go back to them and get another updated done, right? Because, hey, now you have something written that shows that you've gotten it done, okay? I never seen this happen again, but, you know, whenever I dispute, I always want to make sure that and I have some other type of documentation, kind of like a paper deletion agreement, what you're doing in the consumer side, because, you know, agencies make mistakes, people make mistakes. You always want to make sure to have some of that paperwork with you. Okay. And, it never really hurts to have the documentation stored. If you get the result of your disputes, make sure to set that aside in case you need it in the future. Okay. And yeah, I know that was a lot of information, but there you have it, guys. Now you know what you need to fix your business credit reports, how to get your reports, and then the exact process to actually fix those reports. Okay. If you need help along the way, leave me a comment below. Here at ScorePro Financial, this is exactly what we do for our clients. We help to improve your fundability, every aspect of building and repairing business credit. And well, we also get funding for businesses and consumers as well. Okay. And by the way, if you got value from this video, from this training, make sure you like and subscribe so more people can benefit from it, just like you and myself. And of course, keep your eye out for our next one. And then with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one.